As we know, we live in a world, a very data-centric world, and everyone understands the value of data. Some say it is a raw resource, some say it is even a currency, and hence one of the areas of challenge is to protect the data. Data can be monetized, can be very valuable to the organization, can also come with risks, for example, right? So it's all about balancing between the benefits that you get out of this data versus the risk itself. There are a couple of areas that needs to be looked at in terms of ensuring that this balance can be obtained. The first, obviously, is underlying all this, we must make sure that security and privacy control mechanisms are implemented. The virtual world is actually quite a challenging world, especially today, whereby there is a challenge in terms of a very dynamic threat landscape which is happening. There are a lot more sophisticated attacks that we have to deal with. And we have to continually work together to ensure that the data that we have in our repositories are maintained, the security and privacy of it is actually maintained. But at a higher level, it is also important for us to support this privacy and security mechanisms is good data governance, right? And these are the rules, clear rules and requirements in terms of ensuring that data is handled properly. Because as you mentioned, that some data can even be, you think that data which is not very useful, and it turns out to be useful, for example. So we need to have a very clear rules in terms of managing this data and this through proper data governance. Just imagine, if you didn't have any data governance, the challenge will be that, you know, two extremes. One is you don't care who accesses your data at all, which is not very good. The other one is that, you know, you might end up having to go through many various levels of approval just to get a single piece of data. So it's going to be very impractical in an environment where you need data fast and make decision making fast. So governance needs to be put in place, and then we apply technology to automate the governance, and that will allow a large wider of the beneficiaries to be able to use the data in a very seamless way. And that's how you gain and you can leverage on the availability of data to create value, to create economic benefits. I mentioned about data governance just now. I think that is very fundamental, especially for enabling open data. If you do not have clear governance, then it will be almost impossible for not only the industry and the masses, the citizens, to be able to leverage on open data and big data, but also that the government themselves are not really fully utilizing the potential of the treasures of the data which they actually presently holds. Very central to this governance is actually the importance for us to categorize this data. We've seen, for example, ourselves, we looked at a three-layer categorization: low business impact, medium business impact, and high business impact. And we have different kinds of controls and mechanisms to deal with the different levels in terms of criticalness of the data. On top of that, it allows us to decide which data can I make open to the public, which data can I make open to the whole entire organization. So that classification is very important. I believe Malaysia is looking into a 5-layer model, which is based on the Official Secrets Act, which is, I think, is a very good and progressive thought. But we really look forward to having that actually formalized. A second thing is, it is great today that we have a, PDPA, or the Personal Data Protection Act, which helps to maintain in terms of the privacy of the individuals. Because I think if the individuals are no longer confident with the data user securing the data, it will cause a lot of future problems in terms of data usage. But the problem that we have today is that the policies are very much centered on what's known as a notice and consent approach, where at the point of giving data, and when the data is collected, you decide what you can and cannot use this data for. There's several problems here, is that with big data analytics and so on, people can derive data. People can get information indirectly and not directly from the data subject themselves. And this causes some privacy problems, and people are concerned about it. And if we let this be, it may become a future inhibitor in terms of using data. So what policymakers are looking at are more advanced policies or progressive policies, where rather than predetermining the use of data at the point of collection, they will apply policy at the point of use instead. And there are several policy-making organizations that are looking into this, and I think this will help in terms of balancing between, the privacy of the individuals, protecting them, while also opening up more innovative ways of using data. And we look forward to that point of time.